Hey, this is Luke with another Android Guys review podcast. I'm here with Scott.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, you have a game to talk about.
I do.
What is that game?
It's weird because it's not... it would be qualified as a game.
Okay.
It's called 80s Mania Wrestling Returns.
Ooh.
And when you look at the screenshots in the Play Store, you see these, like, throwback to 80s wrestling characters.
Okay.
And graphics. And it looks like it would be a simple kind of like, punch kick.
Yeah.
Combo finishing move type thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the wrestling games from like the Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. This is more of a simulator.
Oh.
Where you're more of like the guy who creates... You play basically as Vince McMahon.
Oh.
You create a card.
Okay.
But you're not doing like this big professional thing. You're kind of working your way up. So you will actually start out with creating a small roster of talent, and you're going to book it at a local hall or church. It'll give you like venues. Everything appears to be mostly text-based as you go through this, but you will see pictures of your characters as you go through that. Pick who you want to put in your match. You'll see, like, I want to put this guy against this guy, or I want to create a tag match. If I want to have a manager come down with him, basically start to create
the show. Yeah.
And as you set up the show, you basically do execute it, and you see things kind of played out as a simulation. Okay. So you'll see the screen with the two guys in the ring together, and it will basically give you somewhat of a big play by big play thing, like off the top rope, leg drop, and then it will declare one of them a winner. Okay. So it'll kind of go back and forth and then declare that. So you can skip that if you want to, and you can skip the entire card if you want, and then just go in to see the results. Sure. But from what I've played, and I've played with it off and on for a couple weeks here, is you will continually build a bigger and bigger card, and you'll start to have different venues, and you can start to kind of create who your good guys are and your bad guys are, and you can see who's getting heat and who's getting over with the crowd, kind of thing. Sure. But it's a lot of text-based stuff. Okay. Not quite the game that I thought I was getting. Right. But it has some pretty good promise. And if you like to maybe once a day create a card or, set up and say, let's see what I can build out of my guys. Right. The characters are pretty cool. They're all fictional. They're not any real wrestler, but they are based off of... there are some wrestlers you look at and you go, up. That's obviously Ultimate Warrior. Right. That's a version of the Rock and Roll Express, these two guys. Yeah, okay. This character is named Keith Blood, but he looks exactly like Kiefer Sutherland from Lost Boys. Okay. So he's got the long trench coat, the spiky blonde hair. Nice. He's a vampire character. Yeah. There's a guy named Arizona Chance who looks like Indiana Jones. Okay. There's Pat Cabbage, who looks like a big weightlifting Cabbage Patch Kid / Garbage Pail Kid. Okay. Chet Sky, Caesar Sleaze. These are all, fun names. Yeah. But then you can start to kind of pit them together and say, I'm going to make these my bad guys. Okay. You can decide. And then there's also like local talent. There are also female wrestlers as well. Sure. It's pretty feature rich in terms of like how you build your card, where it's going to be. Do you want to set up a merchandise table? Oh, wow. Do you have merchandise to sell? How much money did you make at the gate? Was it fully attended? All of that stuff's delivered for you, but it's it can be a little overwhelming. Yeah. When you look at some of the screens, you're like, I don't know where to tap next, because everything looks to be this it keeps in line with that 80s graphics. Right. So text and fonts and things kind of have this like they look like 80s computers.
Yeah.
That if you were to type on and try to read like DOS prompts and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like everything was grayscale, like letters and font over black.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like something lit up bright green and that was the next thing to tap on.
Right.
As you go through the game, you'll kind of see certain things that will be lightly grayed out, so you know you've completed it. But it's just, if you go a couple of days and hop back into the game, you might feel like, wait a second, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know where I left off. I'm not sure. So it's more of a simulator, and it kind of feels like rolling the dice and letting that chance decide your outcome. It's not a bad game. It just isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. I might have appreciated a game that lets me tap to try to win some of these matches.
Right.
Even if it was like long press, trying to hold something or break a move.
Right.
Something simple.
What's the goal of the game?
I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Okay. So there's no, you don't know what the end game is necessarily.
It feels like you're just kind of continually getting bigger, as you move through the ranks. You add new characters, and you can see like popularity between.
How much time passes? Is there like is there any kind of story to it?
Yeah, it does have like this linear thing that kind of gives you this sense that you're like, okay, that event ended, and now you're on to the next one.
Right.
It feels like you can see dates in time, like you're kind of like January of 1980, whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't feel like, and again, I've only spent, I would say, maybe collective 2 hours on this.
Sure.
Over the last couple of weeks, but I don't get this sense of like, today's games, if you're like managing a baseball team and you're the whole front office and you need to trade this guy.
Right.
Here are his stats. It's not like that, but it does give you like yep, we're getting bigger because now we have more venues to choose from.
Sure.
Than we did the last time.
Okay.
Excuse me. And you have more attendance and merchandise sales and things.
Right. Huh. Okay. Well, it sounds cool. It sounds different than
it is interesting.
That I saw,
yeah,
because I saw the screenshots in the Play Store when you were first downloading it, and I thought the same thing. I thought it was like, WrestleMania for the NES, just without having to pay licensing.
Yeah, like if these characters, if I could just do anything like to maybe wrestle one match out of the card, or do something where I'm kind of more in charge of the matches, rather than just booking.
Right.
But it's for what it is, I could see why it's rated.
Yeah.
But I think it's qualified based off of you have to know what you're getting into a little bit.
I gotcha. Well, you want to throw some numbers on it?
Let's throw them.
All right. So for features, 1 through 5.
Features, I'm going to give this game, it's actually going to score pretty well. I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, as a simulator, it provides a lot of options.
Right.
It gives you quite a bit of this, like, I'm Paul Heyman, I'm in charge of everything in the ECW.
Right.
I can oversee this thing. I would give it a 4.
Okay, sweet. Graphics,
I'm going to give it a 4 based off of its intention.
Sure.
It looks exactly like the kind of game that would be an 80s throwback.
Right.
Even as a simulator, it's nice that it isn't just showing the wrestlers in this like retro 8-bit graphics, 16-bit, but the actual cards. And when you look at the hall and some of these things, you can kind of see they're like, yeah, this, it's intentionally low polygon.
Yeah.
But I would give it a 4.
Okay, sweet. How about audio?
Audio's average for me, which I will throw a 3 at.
Sure.
Nothing crazy. The moves and bell sounds and some of that stuff you'll hear when they interact and do like these like flash cut of a match.
Right.
So you'll get a couple things. It's kind of like this is the tail of the tape, the highlights. So I'll give it a 3.
Okay. How about replay value?
this is a tough one because it wasn't the game I thought.
Right.
But I'm going to err on the side of giving it a 3. It's above average.
Yeah.
Because it looks to be the kind of game that you want to continually improve upon.
Sure.
You want to come back and say, well, I think I could get a higher gate or more people to attend.
Right.
I want to get higher ratings for some of these wrestlers and crowd reactions and things.
Okay. Ads and notifications then.
I haven't seen any.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It's a free game. So I'm going to give it a 4. It's nothing, that has come back and said, hey, it's time to book a new match. It's been a few days since I've played it. And the game has not asked me to dive back in and get to booking again. Or,
okay,
hey, your, thing that you scheduled is over. I mean, you find out right away.
Right.
So there's nothing that's like...
There's no time gating on anything.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says, watch this ad and you can unlock this. Nothing feels like it's gimmicked behind a paywall or something. Right. So I'll give that a 4.
Okay, so we have a 4, 4, 3, 4, 4?
3, 3, 4.
3, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's fix that here. Oh, boy.
3.6.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. It's good heading down the road towards great.
Yeah.
Were the game to meet me later on, I think I might really enjoy it.
Right.
But I'm just splitting time reviewing a lot of other things. So I'm not in love with going back to it every time.
Sure.
But, again, this could be the kind of thing where I start to really feel invested over time, too.
Right.
So...
Yep. Okay.
80s Mania Wrestling returns.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
You betcha.